This could be the intro.
Yes! Wait, maybe Right. We're back. Hello, welcome to Flow with Flow, the contemporary dance podcast with Elly Welford. What else do I usually say, Elly? Instagram, flow with a W _ WT_flow. Okay, here we are. I'm really scared I'm going to listen back and I'm going to be like, you didn't say anything. But it's fine. So this is our first film podcast. Don't get excited. I'm quite excited though. We've got our disco ball projected in the back.
Oh no, this is really cute.
It's really cute. And I bought some cherries that actually don't taste very good.
Oh.
The dark ones are okay. If you want one, pick a dark one.
I probably shouldn't do that on camera, to be honest.
No, don't do it.
Quality.
Yeah. I also cut my finger, so if you comment about the plaster, then you're misogynistic? I don't know.
You're a misogynist.
You're a misogynist if you say anything about my plaster. We might go out of focus, there's a chance.
There is a chance. We'll see. This is a test.
This is a test run. First time ever, so don't be mean.
Yeah.
You have to accept whatever happens.
We can do more in the future. We can
practice. Okay. Give us an intro. Tell us about you. A little maybe what you're up to at the moment, your training.
My name's Elly. I am an alumni of Northern School, which makes me feel really, really old.
That's okay.
That's alright. I am a photographer, a dance photographer.
Mm-hmm.
And at the moment I'm doing a lot of stuff with Northern actually, because it's show season.
It is show season.
There's a lot of so many shows, more than when I was at Northern.
That's why I'm so happy. I've just got the job working in the cafe in front of house. I get to see all the shows for free.
I also did that job.
Really?
Except the cafe was a bit different when I was at Northern. It was not as nice.
Oh, it's quite nice now.
It is really nice now. Good
yeah.
food. But yeah, I used to work there on Saturday.
Lovely.
Yeah. A bit of pocket money.
A little bit of, it's definitely pocket money.
It is. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing at the moment. I'm doing a lot of stuff with Northern, which I'm really grateful for. And I also get to watch a lot of shows for free. Yeah.
And you're based in Leeds, but you go to London.
I am. I'm based in Leeds. I'm from Portsmouth originally.
Mm-hmm.
That's my hometown.
Beach.
Yeah, I mean not a great beach, but
no,
it's okay.
Better beach than Leeds because we don't have a beach.
We're landlocked. So so I'm from Portsmouth. I moved to Leeds obviously for Northern, and then I spent a year in Leamington Spa for Motion House for the PPS, and then I moved back to Leeds because I felt like I just wanted to be. This is my home now, and I feel like all my contacts are here.
When you start building like your network, it's hard to move it.
Yeah, and like I just felt like there wasn't not that there's nothing down south. I just don't feel. I've been in Leeds for so long. I just don't really feel connected to the dance scene in the south. So I spend most of my time in Leeds, but I do travel to London every few months for one-to-one shoots, mainly, just to like still be a part of that scene because the London dance scene is so massive.
And people move up to Leeds and move about. It's good to be part of it a little bit too.
And Leeds is cheap as well. So most of the time people will pay for your travel to go to, like, if you've got a job or a dance job or a photography job, people will kind of pay for your travel anyway.
That's so nice.
Free
trip to London.
Yeah.
Take me.
But London,
you need an apprentice.
It does kill me, I'm not gonna.
Does it?
I find London really exhausting.
I think that is a common consensus.
Yeah.
Too busy, too loud.
Yeah, and I do, hats off to people who can hack London.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think I'm just not built for London. I think that's the
problem. That's fine.
Yeah. No, I like Leeds. I feel like Leeds is growing with its like creative hub.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I will say even since coming here 3 years ago, it has got more expensive, but it's also got I've found a lot more little nuggets of creativity. I don't know if that's just because I've been there longer, but like.
No, I would agree, and I think when I was at Northern, when I was training, maybe it was like a confidence thing. Like I didn't do much outside of Northern. Yeah. Like there was pro dance leads, and there was scratch nights, and there was pop-up workshops, and I didn't really like go and do those things that much. And I don't know if it's because obviously I'm graduated now, and I'm like out of the Northern bubble and like in the work, like real. I don't say real world, but
kind of real world.
Kind of real world.
Northern is a bubble. It's not the real world.
It is a bubble. Leeds is a bubble as well.
Yeah,
but
it is.
I do feel like there's more going on now than when I was training.
That's also nice to hear that you didn't feel like you got out that much, because there's a whole thing of like,
no.
if you don't get out when you're in training, you know, you're not gonna meet these people and they're not gonna know you and you're not gonna make it. And then like, you're obviously doing, I would say doing pretty well.
Thank you.
Just
I
putting it out
appreciate
there.
that. It doesn't feel like it sometimes.
I feel like that it's never gonna feel like
No,
it.
no, it's the imposter syndrome always.
Yeah. But the fact you didn't get out much in training is actually quite reassuring to hear.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was just, I wasn't very confident when I was in training, especially like first year and second year. I had a really difficult time just with like, I don't know, adjusting to moving away from home. I got my place at Northern really late. It was like July, so I was on the reserve list. And then, yeah, all of a sudden I was like surrounded by these people who'd done CAT, and I didn't know what CAT was, and NYDC, and you know, the most contemporary training I'd done was a year at Jada's beforehand, but obviously it's a different kind of contemporary because it was infused with Turkish folk dance. And just like surrounded by these people who'd been doing contemporary since they were like 10 years old or something.
Intimidating.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm so lost as a person.
Talk to us about your injury. Go on.
The trauma. So I have a rare bone disease where essentially what happened was the blood flow, because you know bones require blood. The blood flow stopped to one of my bones in my wrist, like the centre bone. It's called the lunate bone. But it's like a silent disease, so you don't have any symptoms. And then when I was at Motion House in the November, I started to get a little bit of pain. We were doing a lot of handstands, hand to foot training, planks, you know, constantly on your hands. And I was like, it's a sprain, it's fine. Then I finished Motion House in March 2020. It was COVID. So I went home. I was then working in a care home for a whole year. So then March 2021, and I was like, this RSI hasn't gotten any better. Like I just thought it was like repetitive strain. I was like, this sprain hasn't got any better. I need to go to the doctors. I can go to the doctors now because COVID was like easing. And then I was like, I went to my doctor and was like, I'm a dancer. I've done a bit of research. I think I might have had like a little bit of hairline fracture, and it's not getting any better because I've rested for a whole year and I haven't done anything. So it should like get better, and it's getting worse. And I went for an X-ray and an MRI, and it came back that where the blood had obviously started to reduce, the bone essentially like collapsed. It's like just like dust. So my whole wrist joint is essentially collapsed because it's like the center point of the bone. And the really nasty,
really painful.
It is. I spent a whole
sprain.
year at Motion House with a broken wrist and doing handstands, and I was like, it's a sprain. And it's a really nasty disease because there's no cure, because obviously the bone is dead, so it's like flattened, and obviously that bone will have to come out eventually. So I can't put weight on my hands. It's quite painful. Holding my camera for long periods of time, especially like my big lens, can be quite difficult. So they just said, that's your dance career kind of like done. And I know doctors can be really like dramatic, but it's degenerative, so there's different stages of the bone disease. So I'm at like stage 3, and stage 4 is osteoarthritis. So I don't have arthritis, but it's inevitable that that's going to happen. So in the next couple of years, I'll probably have some surgeries where they take out the dead bone and they take out some other bones around it in your carpal bones. But I will like start to lose, I'll have less and less motion as the years go on, and I'm losing like my grip strength and things like that. And I will probably get a wrist fusion when I'm older, which is like a metal plate. Yeah. A little bit robot mind. Yeah. And we don't know about the other hand yet. There's a possibility, 50-50, that it could happen to the other one. But I'm having regular MRIs and scans to check the blood flow. Yeah. So obviously if it does start to happen, I can, there are preventative things to do, but because I was like too far gone, you know.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's really dramatic, but that's just, you know, what it is.
It's just what it is.
It's just what it is.
That must have been, hearing that from the doctor, pretty crushing.
Yeah, and I went to therapy for a little bit.
Yeah.
About that. I think my style of dance and how I like to move was very hand heavy anyway.
Yeah.
I loved lifting. I loved throwing myself on the floor. You know, when I was at Motion House, I really liked basing. So I felt like I lost my identity a little bit there. And I was like, well, if I can't do this, then what?
Yeah, and also when you dance, you kind of just dance because there's no time for anything else.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's really hard to create an identity out of it.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't know how to move. I don't know how I like to move. How can I move without being in pain?
Yeah.
And I'd always have people say to me, like, I remember when it first happened, and I didn't really know what the kind of prognosis was for like my future.
Yeah.
And people were like, well, it's just a wrist. And I was like, but you have no idea, like, what it's like to be told, even if it is just a wrist and it's not the whole of my body or a limb or, you know, whatever it is, it was still really difficult for someone to turn around and be like, this is like incurable and it's going to get worse and you're going to be in more pain and you're going to have multiple surgeries, but they're not going to solve the problem.
I don't think you can really downplay that. That's
no.
Like,
and I was like, yeah, it's just a wrist.
Well,
I think this was like 2021, so quick math. I think I was about 23, but they said that the bone disease
really scary. Like,
started when I was in third year, but like I said, it was no symptoms.
Yeah, no idea.
And then when I first started getting pain at Motion House is when my wrist collapsed. So it still collapsed. There's nothing that they can do. I just can't put weight in it. So
okay, so you were told you couldn't really dance.
Yeah, not professionally.
Not professionally.
No.
And also, just a wrist. Nothing compared, but I've also had a wrist issue. I've got a little scar here.
Oh.
They've done it in the crease, which was nice of them. But
I was going to say, it doesn't really look like a scar.
But and I wasn't dancing.
Yeah.
You can say it's just one part of your body, but it affects like you'd feel like it's much harder to dance and just like it's just a wrist. It's not.
So yeah, I just have a lot of people saying that, but also I don't know. I was kind of a bit like, if I can't move how I like to move, I didn't want to do it at all. I think it was a bit of a trauma response, to be honest. Like I was a bit like, don't want it, can't do it. I felt really negative towards dance for a couple of years, and I think it's only the last year that I've been like, you can improv in your kitchen, like you can do that still.
Okay. But it's much easier to shut everything off if you can't.
Yeah, I needed to I think just mentally recover a bit from that.
Yeah. So how did you go from I'm not going to be professional, which is what I meant, what I think I'm going to be doing, into like finding photography and finding your feet in that?
So I started photography in third year.
Yeah.
I did it as like my research projects.
I think you made a TikTok just like of your first photos sort of thing.
Oh my god, yeah, it's so funny looking back at those. But yeah, I did like a little project, and then obviously I went and did my apprenticeship, and I didn't do loads of photography when I was doing my apprenticeship. I went home and occasionally did little bits in the lighting studio, and then COVID happened. I got a job in a care home because. You know, I was like, what else am I going to do? Like, you know, might as well work.
It's nice to do in the pandemic as well,
Yeah, I mean, there was no jobs other than, like, packing shelves and working in care. So I was like, I want to work in care.
Help people out.
I enjoy that.
Yeah.
That was an interesting experience. Care is a very difficult place to work.
You have to be a certain type of person to your work. Yeah.
It was a lot. But so I worked
amazing
there for,
job, though.
It was amazing.
Everyone that does it.
Yeah. I was there for a year, and obviously towards the end of me working there is when I found out I had this diagnosis. And that was when things like started opening up again. Like I remember Northern Rail Schools were like doing a project, and they asked me to come onto that.
To dance?
No, to take photos.
Okay.
And then I just remember like having a conversation with Anna, and I was like, I really want to leave this care job. It's sucking the soul out of me. I'm injured, I've got this diagnosis, like I want to give more time to photography, but I can't because I was doing like 60 hours in care, you sleep the night, so you're doing like a 36-hour shift because you stay overnight, and I was like, I don't have time, like, you know.
Unless you're taking pictures of the care home.
Well, they did try to get me to do that, free work. So yeah, I left in the end.
Yeah.
I had like no money, just had
No.
my savings from my minimum wage job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then I think I just started practicing, started playing with friends. I did a workshop with Jack Thomas. He came to Leeds and did like a location photography workshop, which I'd never really done any location stuff. Which is really funny because location's like my favourite.
It's like your main thing now.
So thank you, Jack.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I think that just kind of kick-started it.
So you're really self-taught.
I've had no.
I kind of presumed you had done some big photography.
No, and people ask me for advice, and I'm like,
I don't. Did you do it at college or anything?
No, I did dance.
Oh.
So it really
Just picked
was
up camera.
very new. I mean, my sister's a photographer,
Okay.
so I've always been like around photography because she's 10 years older than me.
Mm-hmm.
So she would always use me as like a test subject, and she
Mhm.
did it at college. But I was never interested in it then. And she does like weddings and more like editorial stuff. And she does like newborns and families and stuff like that.
I can't think of anything more stressful than trying to photograph a newborn.
Oh my god, I could not. But yeah, kind of just trial and error. You know, asking other photographers. So like,
because I was interested because if you, like, I can picture if you're told you can't be in the dance industry as a dancer, you'd want to go no part of it. But then you stayed in it quite heavily.
Yeah.
What made you not want to go into like photography for like models or something? That doesn't mean being in the industry that feels like you can't be in the way you want.
I just had no interest.
Yeah.
Like it just didn't get me going.
Yeah.
Like it just didn't do anything for me. And I think because I'd already done some bits in third year and I really enjoyed that. I loved taking pictures of my friends and that was really fun. And then I remember like having some conversations with people on my placement about it. And I remember having a conversation saying like, I don't know, I haven't really haven't given it its like time and attention that it needs.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what I would do if I did that, but I always thought that I couldn't do both of them together. It was kind of one or the other. So
it takes up a lot of time.
It does. Me editing till 1 a.m. last night.
I think it does.
It does. But yeah, I just hadn't given it the time and attention. So I think it was just an opportunity of like, okay, I really enjoyed this, so I'm gonna. I can't dance or I don't want to dance. I'm gonna give it a bit more thought that I think it deserves.
That festered into this.
Yeah, I mean, I did go quite hard. You know, I was like, if I don't have to dance,
I have something.
This is what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna go really hard.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of.
And that wasn't actually that long ago.
No, I've only been freelancing 2 years with photography.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Because you're quite well known in our world. Not to freak you out.
Okay.
But 2 years is not a long time.
No, and I suppose.
And to build what you've built, I'm just like, it's quite quick.
I think when I started photography, it was, you know, well, I wouldn't say towards the end of the pandemic. It was like midway through, obviously.
Yeah.
And everyone was online, and I think digital art was more appreciated.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I just started at a good time, and like I said, I didn't. In my eyes, I was going through a bit of like a trauma response of being injured and like really losing my identity. So I was like, if I can't do dance, who am I? Like, you know, I was really figuring things out. So I think I just went so hard and full on into photography. Also because I quit my job. I need
to eat.
I need to eat.
Yeah.
But how else am I going to fill my time? Because my time has only ever been filled with dance.
Yeah.
So, and I think I also went through a little bit of a thing of like a panic of feeling like if I'm not dancing, I'm going to lose all of the amazing people and things that I had in the dance world. I was like, what am I going to do? I'm going to work in a care home forever. I'm not going to have any of my friends. Like all my friends are going to be meeting up and doing things and doing workshops, and I'm so disconnected from that now because I'm not dancing. Which is the complete opposite because I feel very connected to the dance world. But that was like a bit of a panic of feeling like I would be on the outside if I wasn't dancing in it. Yeah. Which is not the case. No. So don't panic if you don't want to dance.
Stay calm.
Stay calm. There's so much out there in the dance world other than dancing.
Yeah.
But this is what I like about Northern is I feel like they're not moulding me to be a rap dancer or whatever it is. I feel like there is room for me to grow. Like I started shadowing Verve, the photographer that was taking pictures for Verve in third year.
Yeah.
And the whole reason I got a camera was because I was on the Leverhulme Trust at Northern, so I got like a little shitty third-hand camera in the summer. And yeah, I started like shadowing the photographers, and then they asked me like, we really need a couple of pictures for this one thing in Verve. Can you take a couple of pictures? We'll give you, you know, 30 quid or whatever,
10 quid,
whatever it was. And obviously I was like super happy to do that. So I was really supported in that way. So it was really nice to come back to Northern after the pandemic and start working for them again as like a professional.
Going from training, getting into photography.
Yes.
Obviously you were very self-taught. Any advice for people, like shadowing other people, that sort of thing?
Yeah,
I eat my cherry.
I think the thing is with photography, it's a luxury. It's not a cheap thing to do. It's not a cheap thing to do a photo shoot. Like it's always been that kind of, it's a luxury. I think I was very lucky that I was on the Leverhulme Trust at Northern, so I could get a small kind of like second-hand camera. But also, all photographers say it, but it really is true, is that it doesn't really matter about the equipment that you have. It's just how you use it. So I would just say practice as much as possible, play as much as possible, because I feel like even I don't get to play enough and get creative as much anymore. And just, shadow people, ask people questions. Like, you know, if you don't ask, you don't get.
Yeah, and people are friendly, like they say yes.
Yeah.
And
I don't mind having people shadow me. I quite enjoy the extra company, to be honest. It's just
get someone to buy you the coffee and everything.
I wouldn't expect that. But it's just it's nice to have a helping hand sometime. If it helps them, then I'm that's nice.
It doesn't cost you anything. So.
No, it doesn't. Not at all.
And this, I guess, sort of relates back to what we were talking about before, but like the pressure in the dance industry to be dance, and like work really hard, and then like having the, I guess, like kind of the bravery to like be like, okay, I want to go into something else a little bit, making that transition.
Yeah, I mean,
that wasn't really a question.
That wasn't.
I was
that's
just
okay.
sort of said things.
That's
and
okay.
I've eaten one cherry. I can't stop.
It's addictive.
Yeah.
Third year, I think for me, and hopefully other people will relate, it's a really weird time when there's auditions going on, and I just auditioned for PPS and Verve because that was what you did. Not that it's a written rule, but kind of like
it's kind of what when are you doing your auditions?
Yeah, you just, I don't know.
It's just community around you.
Do it. Yeah. Sort of thing. And I remember auditioning for things, and at the time I was like, I'm going to audition for every single PPS, because we didn't have a limit back then. But I was like, I'm going to do all 10 of them, and I'd like ticked saying I was going to do all 10 of them. And I remember like sitting in a coffee shop like the day before this audition, emailing Tia and being like, should I go tomorrow? I don't know if I want to go. And she was like, Ellie, I can't tell you what to do. Like, if you want to go, then go. And I didn't go in the end, and I'm so glad that I didn't, because it really wasn't my thing, and I just was doing auditions for the sake of auditions. It was a really like weird time, and I remember my friend came up to me and was like, Ellie, I got Verve. And I was like, I'm so proud of you. I was genuinely so happy for her, but there was something inside me that was like, oh, like I felt I didn't audition for PPS for Verve.
No.
And I was just really gutted, and I was like, I haven't got anything, and I'm not doing anything. And even though like I probably wouldn't have done an MA, I think, if I went back and did things. It was a lot of money. But that kind of like culture in third year is like that you have to have something set up when you leave to feel successful.
And to feel like you've got a chance.
Yeah, and that's not the case. Like, there's people in my year who didn't do an MA, didn't do PPS, didn't do, any kind of like extra training, and they've been dancing consistently in paid work since we left.
I think also the fear that there's not much work means people run into anything they can get, even if they don't want it.
It's also really scary. I think maybe doing an MA for me was a bit more of like, I felt like I had a plan, because it was like set up. It was another course essentially. I felt more stable. Whereas like, and I knew I wanted to freelance, which I guess I am doing still, to be fair. I knew I wanted to do that, but I was like, I can only freelance if I've done an MA, and I think that was kind of my view on it, is that I had to do an apprenticeship to kind of get my name out there, which I really don't think is the case at all. But it's difficult because you're absorbed in that culture. But there's so much beyond. There's so much life beyond training.
Just seeing that.
Yeah.
What are some things, life beyond training? I'm trying to think of like practical things people can look at and like maybe go to see like what you can do outside of just training. But it's kind of hard because it's different for everybody. But like,
I mean, some advice that always sticks with me. It's from Cassie. Cassie was in 3rd year when I was in 1st year. And I actually spoke to her about this the other day. When I was in 3rd year, she was dancing with a company down south, and I remember having a conversation with her and being like, I'm so stressed about 3rd year, I haven't gotten anything yet, I haven't like been successful in any auditions. And she was like, why do you need to have something? She was like, go home, go to the gym, like do nothing for a month or two, like just chill. Like, why is there so much pressure to like instantly go into something? Like, you know, it's not really realistic either. And I think I do feel like apprenticeships and MAs are more of a moneymaker than like a stepping stone, personally. For me, I think in what I wanted to do, that was, reflecting on it, I think that was, you know, not the best option for me. But I
think a lot of them are different. Some of them are more.
They are, and I think it depends what you want to do and where you want to go. But I think for what I wanted to do, it wasn't necessary, and obviously my path has changed anyway. But I just remember her telling me, she was like, just chill for a bit. And I was like, shit, I can just relax for a bit. Like, I've just been training solidly for 5 years by the time I finished my MA. Like, you know, relax a little bit. Go and explore things. Go to workshops. Go to a dance class just because you want to do something different. Like, you know.
I feel like we should wrap up, Elly.
We should wrap up, shouldn't we?
Should we cheers a cherry?
Come on, wait, I want a dark one. You said
sorry.
don't give me
I'll cheers my own.
Hang on. Should I stop it?